right. Hello, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. Yes, I am a little bit late today as we were just getting this moving and I had some technical difficulties and I'm running around doing all kind of crazy stuff. So, however, we're on it now. So, my apologies for being a few minutes late. Thank you guys for joining in. If you can hear me well, if you can see me well, give me a comment in the chat, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that everything is going well. We're going to discuss going from scarcity to abundance today and what it takes to put in the work. As you guys know, I talk about filters all the time, much like in the vein of Scott Adams. But with that, also, I also talk about how a better filter gives you a better experience in the world. And with that, what you're going to have to do to extract the most value from your experiences and to put you in a position to where your behaviors open up opportunities rather than closing them. Because let's be honest, you act differently when you have an abundance mindset comparatively to when you have a scarcity mindset. In a scarcity mindset, you are acting reactively. And so when you're acting reactively, you don't have an opportunity to get ahead of the problem. You don't have an opportunity to plan for things. You don't have an opportunity to set things up in a way that will allow you to optimize that experience and extract the value out of it. So we have to switch from a scarcity mindset into an abundance mindset. And that's what I'll discuss in just a bit. First, I want to talk about the Tasha Eurich episode and why you guys should check that out and how it dovetails into the topic today. Anyway, so for you guys who are just tuning in, if you're there, if you can hear me well and you can see me well, shoot me a message in the chat or give me a thumbs up. That helps others find the show, as I like to do these every Tuesday, and I'm going to be doing more of them. We just recently started these again after the new year. So with that, I'll go ahead and discuss Tasha. So the Tasha Eurich episode, she did a lot of explaining about the research around self-awareness and its importance. Hey, Luke, right on. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I don't know if you catch these lives, Luke, but I go live every Tuesday, 8:30 a.m. Usually it's a promo for the podcast, and then I do a mini micro lesson, which I'm about to get into. But I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And if you could click like, that pushes it out into the algorithm to some more people. So I appreciate that. All right. So with the Tasha episode, she discussed all the research behind self-awareness. One of the myths or one of the discoveries in that research is that there are two types of self-awareness that we have control over, but have different levels of. And if you haven't done the work, then you are subject to your genealogy of self-awareness. So the two parts are internal self-awareness and external self-awareness. Have you ever met anyone that you felt was incredibly bright, incredibly self-aware, maybe reflective, but yet had no social common sense or social graces, or somebody that you have found particular brilliant in live external social situations, but then a little bit a little slow when it comes to being internally reflective. Now, you can look at that as introverted and extroverted. However, this is not about engaging socially. This is about your self-awareness. How aware are you in a social environment comparatively to how aware you are of yourself in a solitary environment? Those are completely two different things, and the research has shown it. Now, there are ways to get in touch with yourself to bring both of those self-awareness, external and internal, up. And we discussed that in the show. But there's also a lot of myths to the idea of what will allow you to be more aware. One of those myths is ruminating and trying to figure out what is wrong with you so that you can fix yourself. Now, a lot of introverted people tend to be very reflective, and for those who think of themselves as broken, they look internally to figure out what is broken, what can be fixed, and where is that mechanism. The problem with that idea is, in psychology, there is no you're broken. There's just trauma and loss that you contend with, or an ideology or a reality that you've created for yourself through your own filter that creates a reality that you contend with, that you have to fight, that you have to work through. Now, Stephen Hayes said it best. This is my best analogy to how that works. Your mind is much like a calculator that does not have a subtract or a delete button. So you can enter things in, but then you have to work with what has been entered in. It's an additive situation. So your experiences, the trauma and loss that you take on through life, doesn't go anywhere. You don't fix it. You don't delete it. Your experiences now travel through those experiences to you. And so you're going to dictate through reflection and thought to what those experiences mean to you. And if you can understand that if you take on trauma and loss and you see yourself as the direct result and the direct cause of that trauma and loss, then your filter for experiences as you move forward is going to be quite detrimental to your self-esteem, to your confidence, to your well-being. Whereas if you learn to extract the lessons from those experiences to make you a better person, well, then you're using that trauma and loss to develop yourself into being a better person. So those your real world experiences will then be colored by the lessons that you have extracted from those experiences. This is the art of that self-reflection and how you go about it. So in the Tasha episode, we discussed in great length things that you can do to better learn from those experiences. One of the myths that she brought up is this myth that journaling can fix these problems. No, journaling is just an opportunity for you to objectively look at what had happened and derive from it the results. Those results that you derive from it will be according to your worldview. If you're a positive person, well, you're going to take from that experience positive things. If you're a negative person, well, it's going to be easy for you to ruminate, to pull out the negative, to make it about you, to make it that you were the cause personally of this situation. So it's very important that if you are doing journaling, that you're asking yourself the right questions to get you the right answers. So things that you can think about in journaling, reflective prompts, which would be what was the experience that happened? Write it out. You write it from a subjective place. You talk about what you were feeling while this was happening. And then you look at the takeaways. What are your insights that you're going to gain from that experience? Well, it's at that point that you're pulling from that experience positive things. You're taking away from it lessons, insights, things that make you better, rather than just ruminating on the experience and stirring up lessons and takeaways that will be cognitive distortions to other experiences as you move forward. So, incredible lesson. So that is the Tasha Eurich episode. Make sure you check that out. It'll be dropping on YouTube on Thursday. But if you can't wait, go ahead to iTunes. It's the latest episode. It dropped Monday. It's great. She gives you all the data and research. She's such a nerd. I love it. All the data and research on self-awareness and understanding the two aspects of it and what you can do to heighten both sets. The other thing about it is the numbers and research, the percentages of people who, when they are outwardly socially aware, that they tend to excel at work. The numbers to that, of the promotions to getting hired, all of those play a role in your success. So to invest in yourself and invest in your self-awareness has a ROI, a return on investment that you're going to want in life. And the research points to it. So I would highly suggest that you check out that episode. Now, before we go, I wanted to then discuss the idea of going from scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. Now, I put out this tweet a few weeks ago, maybe a few months ago, and I just put it on Instagram. But basically, here's the tweet. 5 areas to switch from scarcity mindset into an abundance mindset. Number 1, money. Well, here's the list, right? 5 areas: money, love, diet, time, and value. Each one of those points play a significant role in your well-being, and each one is subjective to how you relate to the world and others around you. So think about money. When you have it, you act in ways that you don't when you don't have it. One of the things, if you listen to any Tony Robbins or any success coach, the thing that they discuss most is describing your narrative or relationship with money. When I was a kid, I viewed money in lawns mowed, right? For every lawn I mowed, I got $10. And that was usually the going rate in the neighborhood. And so if I wanted a new skateboard, which was roughly at the time $60 with odds and ends, then that would mean I would need to mow 6 lawns. That was the way I viewed money. That was the narrative that I had with it, and that was the way I viewed it. Think about the internet and what it does for you. It allows you to reach millions, if not billions of people with a message that they may or may not be interested in helping support. That's a lot larger than the number of lawns that I will have access to in the world. Therefore, the access and the power that I have through the internet is much larger. It reshapes the way I view money, where rather than trading my time for money or manual labor for money, I'm now looking at reach for money. That changes that view, right? And that changes the way I act accordingly with it. So let's go down this list. Money was the first one. And then after I go through the list, I'll talk about action points that you can do in order to achieve that. Number 2, love. What you chase will run. When love is scarce in your life, then how you view the few people that do give you attention, approval, and acceptance changes. You cling to them. You need them. They're the few people that allow you to feel good. So you end up chasing those people. The reality is anything that you chase runs. You have to change your view of it. So how do you create more love in your life and take responsibility for bringing in more love into your life? Well, you got to throw it out in order to get it. And you have to create love rather than looking for it in other people. When you become a lighthouse for love, well, now guess what? People are now attracted to you and coming to you to feel good, to get attention, approval, and acceptance rather than you chasing them. And when you get that love back from giving it out, it's a greater satisfaction because you've given it to earn it. It was, in a weird way, it was transactional, but it's not transactional in the way that I give it to you and you give it back. It's transactional in a way that I give it out to everybody. And then there are a select few that see the purpose and wise enough to see where it came from and to want to give it back. That's how you know you've made a true connection with people. That connection through that love is now stronger than any connections being made because it was made on an exchange of vulnerability. So that's love. Diet. We live in a world of abundance when it comes to food, at least right now, and its sustainability. We probably the amount of food that we throw away in the West it's heartbreaking to even think about the amount of food that goes to waste. And in fact, in my house and growing up as a child, I was constantly reminded about food. In fact, the guilt that I have about food to this day stems from that kitchen table when I was 10 years old, hearing about starving children in China and Africa. But I have also learned what is good food, nutritious food, and I fill up my diet now with necessities that keep me alive, and with the highest rate in nutrition and protein to waste. I get to choose that. And because I choose food that's right for me, now I have better energy. I feel better. I'm overall well-being. I'm eating cleaner. So that relationship with food has changed. Time is number 4. Every time that you say that you don't have enough time, or you use busy, I'm busy, as an excuse, you've given yourself a message about how you view time. And if you don't view time as a commodity, then you won't respect it as a commodity. Much like if you don't learn the value of a dollar, that you appreciate what a dollar is. Time is the same way. If you learn to regard your time as a priority, if you learn to regard your time as a commodity, well, then you will start dishing it out to those things that deserve it. What deserves your time? What deserves your attention? What deserves your affection? Well, things with a high ROI. The things where I get a wonderful return on investment. For me, I don't have a television in my house. I don't watch junk food entertainment. The idea of spending an evening watching Netflix makes me sick. Why? Because the ROI on it is low to non-existent. I like to read. I like listening experiences. I like playing my guitar. There are things that I am receiving from that activity. Once you learn to prioritize your time and regard it in a manner of high regard, then all of a sudden you've created more time for yourself. You're not busy all the time. You just know what you're doing and what you're not doing. Talk about the fear of missing out. You go to the joy of missing out, because you know at the end of the day what gives you more. So that's time. And lastly, value. The value that you give out will be in a proportion to the value that you receive. Much like love, it works in the same manner, but rather than in a romantic or idealistic context, value, the way we see it at the Art of Charm, is attention, approval, and acceptance. It's the one thing that allows everybody to feel good, but it's separated from love, so you can view it a little bit more platonically. And it works in the same manner. If you chase value, it will run from you. It will be more difficult to get. When you create value, then people are coming to you to get it. And those of you and those people who are smart enough to realize who allowed them to feel good, who gave them the attention, approval, and acceptance that they deserved, they're going to continue to come to that resource, to that person. And not only are they going to continue to come to that resource, that person, that place of value, they are going to look to respect and hold that resource in high regard. They're going to want to fuel it because it fuels them. It is a reciprocal circle behavior that perpetuates and fuels itself accordingly. So there you have it. There is the 5 areas in which you can create abundancy out of scarcity. Now, I told you the 5 areas and I told you what to do. Now, how do you strengthen this idea of abundance from scarcity every day? It is a giant boulder to push up that hill on a daily basis. You have to start small with a pebble and push that up the hill. And once you get good at pushing that pebble up the hill, you move on to the next piece and add it to that pebble, and that pebble gets a little larger. So maybe the first one is money. Maybe the first pebble up the hill is value. Maybe the first pebble up that hill is time. Once you get that handled and you've now created abundance from scarcity with, say, time, now you look to add love to that boulder. If boulder gets a little bigger and you add the pieces into place that flip that mindset to that day. And when that boulder gets stronger and makes you stronger and allows you to push it up that hill easily, then you move to the next point and you begin pushing that up the hill. This becomes the journey for the rest of your life. But here's the best part of that journey. The moment you start, every day gets better than the last, because each day you're a little farther ahead than you were the day before. You moved yourself a little farther up the hill than you were. You can begin to see what's at top. You're able to see the light at the end of the tunnel clearer than you had when you were farther behind. And you continue this. You continue this as you get stronger. And the ripple effect is that other people who are close to you will see this journey, will see how happy you are, and they will want to emulate the behaviors that they saw in you. And the stronger and the more faith that you have in this process, the more people you are able to influence and persuade into following you. And now you have become a leader through scarcity into abundance, and you're leading others to that promised land. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you move from scarcity into abundance. So that's the micro lesson for today. I got a million things to do today. So I want to thank you guys, the few of you who popped in. Thank you very much. Leave me if you have a question, throw it in the chat real quick, and then I'll answer it. Luke, thank you very much for hanging in there and checking it out. And thank you for giving me the like. For those of you, if you haven't given me a like or a thumbs up, go ahead and do that, because that allows others to check this out. And this will be up every Tuesday, 8:30. I go live with a chat about this week's episode and a micro lesson. I'm going to be doing a lot on YouTube. Luke, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. We make it for you guys, because that's the ripple effect. Have you looked around? Have you noticed that this world is circling? We are circling the drain here. We need to change course, we need to change our trajectory. We need to be going up rather than down. Those who look up will go up, and those who look down will go down. Think about that, and think about which direction you are looking in your life. So for all of you guys, thank you very much. If you haven't given me a thumbs up, please do. If you have questions, you want to reach out, you can find me on all the social media at The Art of Charm. I'm the one who interfaces with everybody on social. AJ's not a big fan. I enjoy chatting with you guys. So have a wonderful Tuesday. Cheers.